Hello Disneyans of YouTube, and this is another How to Win with Death Guard video. Today we will be covering the Plague Crawler because, well, it's the most recent model in the Death Guard line and I bought one. And I thought I'd put some pictures up that I found on GW's website. The first two will be from GW. Plague Crawler 3 will be from Facebook, and I left the man's name in the Facebook post up so that he would get credit for his very good work on the Plague Crawler. So what do you get with the Plague Crawler? You get movement of 9, 6, and 4 depending on wounds. A weapon skill of 6+. You get a ballistic skill of 4, 5, and 5. And then strength of 7, 6, and 5. Toughness 8, 12 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 8, and save is a 3-up. Now, the standard loadout for the Plague Crawler is the Plague Burst Mortar, a Heavy Slugger, and 2 Plague Spitters. I'll be honest with you, I like this loadout. Mainly because the Plague Mortar is 12 to 18 inches, heavy D6. It's a plague weapon. It does not require line of sight to the target. Strength 8, minus 2 AP, D3 wounds. So you could do some heavy amount of damage if you roll 6 shots, and let's just say a miracle happens and you hit 6 times. That's a possibility of 18 wounds on a single unit. That's insane. The other thing that it comes with is the Heavy Slugger. Heavy Slugger is a 36-inch range, heavy 4, strength 5, minus 1 AP, and 1 damage per. Now, I like the Heavy Slugger over the Rot Hail volley gun because it has more range, it has more shots. Yes, it's at different strength, it only does minus 1 AP as opposed to minus 2 AP. However, being as I do not expect this tank to be in my front line, I much prefer to have the long-range weapons in those two spots. Now, I do like the Plague Spitters on either side because if, for some reason, somebody deep strikes near you, or what do they call it now? Teleport, dissension, or something where they just appear within 9 inches of you. Unless they're dropping in their Terminators or their heavy hitters, they're not going to be able to take you out in a single turn on average. So, Plague Spitter, you move over, get them in range. Assault D6, so that's 2 guns or 2 D6 worth of shots. And you're going to do a fair bit of damage because you automatically hit, so everything hits. And they're all at strength 7. You're going to be damaging most everything you run across without a great deal of difficulty. This one does have Disgusting and the Resilient. It is demonic, so you get a 5-up invulnerable save. And it explodes on a 5-up. And each unit within 6 inches suffers D3 mortal wounds. So, let's say, for example, you do get destroyed. And you're near most of the front line of the opponent's army. D3 mortal wounds within each unit is pretty good, especially if you've got that hard to remove solo or can't be targeted character because he's near everything else. It's a really good buy-in. The other weapons you could choose with the Plague Burst Crawler here, you've got Entropy Cannon, 36-inch range, heavy 1, strength 8, D6 damage, and it's minus 4 AP. I don't like that you only get 1 shot, especially with a 4-up ballistic skill. I mean, it's not terrible. But to me, if I were to run 2 Plague Crawlers, one would probably have the Entropy Cannon on it. Instead of the Heavy Slugger, you can take the Rot Tail Volley Gun. Yeah, Rot Tail Volley Gun. Again, that's 24 inches, heavy 3, strength 6, minus 2 AP, 1 damage. I'm not a huge fan of this gun. I think it could be good in the right situations. I'm a big fan of the auto hits, which is why I left the Plague Burst or Plague Spitters on there. But you do have to pick between Plague Spitters and Entropy Cannons. Personally, I like the Plague Spitters, which is what I put on mine. And mine is being ready to be painted here in the next few weeks, hopefully. The volley gun, it's not terrible. But as opposed to a heavy slugger, I just think that the heavy slugger wins out on this model. So what combos would I take this with? Well, if I was running two of them, obviously I would take one that's got a little bit heavier hitting loadout. For example, the entropy cannon, the strength 8, -4 AP, D6 wounds. That's your vehicle killers. That's your Terminator killers. Your big monstrosity killers, like if you go up against Terminators or Tyranids or something that has big enough characters, by the time you get to shoot them, you need to put them down, especially when they're up in your face. That can do a lot of damage, especially at strength 8. D6 wounds, you get 2 of them because they replace the plague spitters with 2 infantry cannons. I think that would be a good way to go if you were running 2 of these. Or if you were running one of these in conjunction with a bloat drone, then you would have the option of having those plague spitters near enough to your tank to clear out what was going to threaten it and allow it to shoot its heavy guns into what you needed to shoot at. So there's some synergies going on there. Off the top of my head, I don't know of any stratagem or what's the word I'm looking for? Psychic powers that would be really good. Just looking at it, Blasphemous Machines is 1 CP. Uses stratagem just before a Death Guard vehicle attacks in the shooting phase. Till the end of the phase, that vehicle can ignore the penalties for moving and firing heavy weapons, or for advancing and firing assault weapons. I ain't gonna move this thing a whole bunch unless I absolutely have to. But that's one thing I see off the top here. I haven't looked all the way through this. I need to. I don't think there's any psychic powers that really help it very much. At least not the ones that I am familiar with. And I apologize for the brief interruption from my child. However, she is at home with me today while I'm doing this and being very kind and giving me a few minutes by myself. There are no vehicle upgrades you can take on the Plague Burst Crawler listed in the Codex. So that's pretty much the Plague Burst Crawler, guys. What do y'all think? What are your synergies? What psychic abilities, even outside of the Death Guard Codex itself, could be taken? Mainly because I do not have access to the Chaos Codex because I have not purchased it yet. However, I do know that you can take sorcerers, so what are the other psychic powers that y'all would use? What would you suggest to anyone who is taking the Plague Burst Crawler and going to try to make it work for them? Leave your comments below. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you enjoy the series, let me know. I'll answer some of your questions.